Welcome to the Algodon YouTube channel. I am Nourhen and I am a youth career coach. I support young adults to create a thriving and successful career and life.
Awesome. And I am Allison, and I am a mindset coach, but I focus on the subconscious mind. So I help people align their conscious to their subconscious so that they can achieve whatever goals they have in life. And I actually wrote a book. It's called Algodon, and you can find it online or on the link below. But I created a tool for readers and for other people to be able to reprogram their subconscious mind daily, because I don't know about you, but I didn't know how to reprogram my subconscious mind before. And so when I went into the market to look for something that would help me, I couldn't find it. And so this is why I wrote a book which will help the readers. As you can see, we can open it here. And it has affirmations for every single day of the year. So today, what we're going to be doing is just going over the affirmations for today's date. So today is
May 3rd,
May 3rd,
2025.
2025. And we're going to pick one of the affirmations because, as you know, it covers all 6 areas of life. So we're going to pick one and just kind of like elaborate and pick Nourhen's brain, pick my brain, and help the readers, help our audience just, learn how to reprogram your subconscious mind. So let's get started.
Sounds good.
All right, let's find today's day. We have not looked at the questions. We were deciding to see if we were going to look at them before we started recording, and we said no, we want to keep it a surprise, right?
Yes.
Okay, so let's flip.
Just let it flow through
Yeah.
inspiration.
Okay, so we are now on day 3 of May, so it's the 3rd of May. All right, so do you want to read the first one and then, or the first 3, and then I'll read because there's a total of 6, so you read 3 and then I'll read 3 and then we'll
Sounds
pick one.
good.
Yeah.
Okay. First affirmation. Why has God's word caught my attention? Why do I feel confident knowing that I do not need anything external?
Ooh.
Why do I have curiosity and interest in learning?
Wow. Okay, so then the next one. Why am I able to be myself and enjoy myself around others? Why am I good at listening to my body? And why are my money managing skills superb? Ooh. Which one do you feel like is catching your attention, or like the readers? You let us know in the comments too, like what area do you think that we should cover most, because the 6 affirmations, they're for the 6 areas of life. So you have the spiritual life, so why has God's word caught my attention? That's the spiritual life. Then you have the intellectual life, which is why do I feel confident knowing that I don't need anything external? And then you have the emotional part of life, which is why do I have curiosity and interest in learning? And then you have the social part of life, which is why am I able to be myself and enjoy myself around others? And then it comes to the physical area of life. Why am I good at listening to my body, right? Because sometimes we don't do that. And then you have your financial part, where it says, why are my money managing skills superb? So, which of these areas do you think people or our audience, you think they struggle the most? And we can kind of like elaborate on that.
I would say so. What caught my attention is the physical one. Why am I good at listening to my body?
Okay, let's do that one then.
All
So
right.
that's the affirmation that we're gonna do. Why am I good at listening to my body? A lot of people do struggle
Yes.
about that on that subject. So tell me more a little bit about why did it caught your attention?
So it caught my attention because I realized a few years ago how much I am disconnected to my body.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a point where I was not paying attention to the signals my body was giving me.
Right.
It was always like, do more, and more, and pass through it. So there was not a moment where I stopped and said, "Oh, I really feel exhausted,
Yeah.
and why is that?"
Mm-hmm.
So, and my body started to react.
Okay. So you notice how you kept asking yourself, why do I keep feeling exhausted?
For example,
Right?
yeah,
So then that's why this affirmation comes in to help you reprogram that unuseful question, right?
absolutely.
So this is how it works, guys. So if you're struggling with something like Nourhen, she say, why do I keep feeling tired? Why do I keep feeling exhausted? Like, why is this happening? Then she can use this affirmation, or anyone can use this affirmation and say, why is it easy to listen to my body, right?
Mm-hmm.
When did
Mm-hmm.
you like find out that you had to listen to your body, or what made you be aware that you weren't listening to your body?
Actually, when my body started reacting,
Ah,
mm,
manifesting.
yeah, manifesting discomfort.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm really grateful for my awareness and always the curiosity I
Mm-hmm.
always had towards life, which gave me like soon enough
Yeah.
to react to it. But what happened was my body started to reacting.
What kind of like reactions were you getting? Like,
So I had a lot of muscular tension,
oh, okay, yeah,
which I had for so long, and I was used to it.
you're getting used to
I
it.
was accepting it. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, so
It was your new normal.
it was my new
Yeah.
normal. Yes. So that was one thing since I remember, I
Mm-hmm.
was always like, especially my back, I was
Mm-hmm.
always trying to, I mean, even massages. I started getting massages like recently. So because as I was saying, it was normal. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's like I um just don't wake up and feel vital and
Right.
light.
It wasn't the normal.
It wasn't the normal.
Right.
One of it, yes.
And I'm sure a lot of our audience can relate to that, where it's like, okay, well, what is my normal way of being, like energetic, wanting to do things, motivated, but instead now the new normal, it's like I don't want to do anything, like.
Yeah,
Yeah. So.
yeah, and then it kept. I mean, that was something which is not that bad. I mean, you just accept it as
Mm-hmm.
like it's not harming so much, but it's discomfort.
Yeah.
It's that's bad. Then I started feeling issues with my digestion.
Mm.
So now I was manifesting more and more. The more I looked away,
Yeah.
the more my body was manifesting
Yeah.
discomfort.
Yeah, because they say like your gut is your second brain.
Mm-hmm.
So if your brain and your mind is stressed, then that automatically reflects into your gut, and then the food that you digest, the things that you eat and stuff, they're stressed, it's your system is not like what do you say, like it's not like as active, and it's
Mm-hmm.
not processing the food or the meal that you ate well because you're stressed. So now you have, other problems coming in. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, that's so interesting. So then how can someone, that experiences all of these discomforts and stuff, like how can they move to being a person that listens to their body, like because sometimes we're caught on the go, it's like
Mm-hmm.
I gotta get up, I gotta go to work, I gotta do this, I gotta do
Perform.
that, and you're just like on the go, constantly on the go, that it's hard to put your body as a priority. And it happens to me too sometimes, like I have a list of things to do each day, and one of the things is always take my vitamins, always do some sort of physical activity, whether that's Pilates or whether I'm going on a walk or whatever I'm doing. And sometimes I'm like, oh, like that 15-minute walk, it can wait. But then I'm like, no, it cannot. because it's a priority. It's almost like a loyalty program to myself,
Yes.
because I know that if I skip that, then it's going to affect my whole entire life.
Yes.
Because without you, if you're not well, nothing else happens.
True.
Right? When you call off sick or when you're sick and things like, you cannot process, you cannot keep on continuing to do the things that you're meant to do that day. Right? So, what is something that has helped you remember? Let me put the signals of my body first, besides all the other priorities that you have.
So the first thing was stop ignoring it.
Okay.
Stop ignoring the signals.
Right.
And it came in with me starting to increase my self-love, my self-care,
I love that. Yeah.
putting myself first. And I remember so vividly how I was seeing my mentor, and it was actually my first session back then. And I shared with him um, about what I'm not satisfied about, and what about my exhaustion, and why I'm not feeling like satisfied and happy and fulfilled. Something was missing, because when you saw my life on the outside, everything was perfect. No, but within myself, something was off. So, and I remember that session, and he was saying to me, "You are the most important person in your life."
That's deep.
That was very deep. And I remember how my first reaction, how my body reacted, was like, no.
No, it rejected it.
Exactly. So, but then there was another, so my subconscious was saying that no, I can't put myself first.
Right, because you were programmed that way.
Exactly.
Right.
I can't put myself first. I can't think only of myself. I can't just take care of what is good for me.
Like it's selfish. We're taught that it's selfish
Yes.
or something.
So, but I didn't speak it out. It was my body reacting to it, but because at the same time, my soul knew he's speaking the truth.
Yeah, he's correct.
He's correct.
And you wanted that.
Exactly. And that's why I was there. And I, oh my God, I took that with me. And till today, I mean, whenever I'm facing something in life where I see I want to change that programming and it's not serving me anymore, I go back to that foundation.
It's being grounded.
The foundation is like my cup needs to be full in order to be able to give.
Correct. Yes. And that's very important, because if you don't give to yourself first, then you can't give on to others, right? Even like right now, we're drinking our water, and if you needed some more and I didn't have any, how am I supposed to give to you, right?
Yeah.
And so, maybe people can ask, or they have the question where, okay, I'm taking care of myself. How much is too much taking care of yourself, and how much is like, oh, for people to say, oh, you never come over here, you're taking care of yourself now, like, because you want to have a balance, right? You want to give to others, but then you also want to retract and just keep some time to yourself. So what is one way that like you can do that?
Your emotions. Yeah.
Pay attention to your emotions.
We have such an accurate emotional guidance. We were all born with a powerful emotional guidance system within ourselves, which tells us if we are aligning with our truth or if we are going against it.
And I think one of those signals could be discomfort, illness, stress. Yes. I was hearing someone saying, I have chronic stress. And I said, why? And I can understand, like, in the old times when you lived in a cave and stuff, like you had a stressful moment when like a lion would come near you, right? And so then you would take shelter and then the stress was gone. However, nowadays we still have the same body, the same software, but this world has new technology that moves so fast and is like very stressful that sometimes we tend to always have the lion in front of us and we cannot take shelter. And so that's where chronic stress comes in, and that's where a lot of people feel stuck because they're like, I'm so stressed, I'm so overwhelmed, and this, and that. And I think that people, you just have to think it through. Like, literally, what is it actually stressing you out? And then always think about that someone else has worse problems than you. That always gives me comfort because not that like other people have bigger problems, but the fact that like this could be a big problem for me, but someone else is going through a much harder thing at the time, you know? And so they could coach me or they could tell me, that's nothing, Allison. Like I'm going through this other important thing or other stressful thing, you know? And so I always take a step back, and instead of focusing on what I'm going through, I think about, okay, who and what else are they going, what are other people going through as well, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so that gives me a perspective to think, okay, let me just kind of like calm down. This is not a big deal. I don't need to stress about it. I'm not gonna die. I'm not, you know, and because that's a response back then, right? You see a lion, it's like run, you know, it's
Uh-huh.
gonna eat me. And but now the situations today, they're not going to eat you. They're not going to kill you. You just have to learn how to manage that in your mind and remove that programming from your subconscious that says, "Oh, it's gonna eat me," right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's one way of like also keeping in mind and staying grounded to the things around you, right?
Yes. Yeah. Well, I would love to add to that. I totally agree with you in terms of um, the evolution part of
Yeah,
our mind and body, and it is stress is nothing other than fear.
right. I like that.
So, and fear creates a high intensity of cortisol. So, and once your cortisol level is high in your body, you have this constant stress
Right,
because you're constantly thinking that a lion is gonna come and eat you,
right, yeah.
right? So, and the cortisol level shows in different aspects:
Mm-hmm.
digestion, um, puffy eyes waking up, puffy face, muscular tension. These are the first signals of the
Right,
body. And the more we don't pay attention, the more I see it always like our soul's is like my soul is knocking on the door,
mm-hmm.
and it's like, hey,
Help.
wake up, help, you know, you're supposed to feel good. Your well-being, you're born to feel joyful and happy, and you're safe.
Right.
So then we come back to fear is an illusion, as you are
Mm-hmm.
saying, like nowadays. So what I do is, once I feel that um, response, because it's also a program,
Yeah.
I remind myself that I'm safe.
Yes. That's very important.
All is well.
Yeah.
All is truly well. And then, and sometimes it takes a day. Some in the beginning, it might take, when you started, it might take 2 weeks, it might take 3 weeks. But if you really care about your well-being, and that's
Mm-hmm.
also a process,
Yes.
then what I was saying, it's like,
Create another habit.
it's creating another habit to say, hey, nothing is more important than that I feel good.
Yes.
I deserve to feel good.
Yeah.
So,
And then also just kind of letting people know, hey, you know what? Let me just take a step back. Let me just take a moment to reflect, and I'll be right back, or
mhm,
I'll come again, you know? And I think that's very important to know, to be aware of catching yourself being stressed and then turning that around to
yes,
saying, this lion's not going to eat me, I am safe, and just analyze the problem. Most of the time when you speak the problem out loud, you'll be able to find the answer, you'll be able to solve it, you because you've identified it, And now it's like, oh, that wasn't such a big deal, you know?
Yeah.
And you think back, and the more you do it, the more you get used to it, the more it becomes a habit, and the more your life is less stress. I'm not saying life is going to be roses and rainbows because we're humans, right? We
Hmm.
can feel emotions and stuff and things, but it's going to be predominantly controlled.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, how do you want to end this conversation and give our audience like a tip? Like, I think that we've given several ideas, but what is something practical that we can start doing today and they can start doing today to know how to take care of the body and listen to the body?
Yeah, so the first thing, as I was sharing, is making the decision,
Mm-hmm.
because it's not it's not only words like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
of course I don't want to be stressed.
Yeah.
I'm really willing to build that muscle.
Yes.
That's the point. Because so often we accept circumstances because we are so used to it,
Yeah.
right? So the first thing is making a decision and then starting small.
Oh yes, that's big.
Really, really small. Imagine it's like a muscle you start to build.
Yes.
And it's mostly, as I was saying, like I work a lot with the emotional guidance scale by Abraham Hicks, where it shows you the emotions. And then it's like we always will experience contrast, as you are
Right.
saying, because we are humans. So whenever you feel off, so it is always a sign to just stop.
Right.
So what I do and what helps me a lot is to set myself up for my day as early as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really like, if I would share one tool from my practices, it's take 5 minutes in the morning where you intentionally focus on gratitude.
Yes.
That's something, that's a tool which is it
Huge.
sounds so simple. It really sounds so simple, but it's huge.
But simple things add up.
They add up.
They
Yeah.
add up. Yeah.
And know that your programmed self, you can call it ego, you can call it contrast. It doesn't, it really doesn't matter. But that programmed software, the voice, will always give you excuses why you're not grateful,
Yes, or why it's not possible.
why it's not
Yeah.
possible to be grateful. Because the focus is really, it's like, imagine like you're having a camera and you're just like, okay, I see these are my challenges, these are my obstacles, this is what I'm going through, it's huge, it's big, my mind is making it huge and big, but I know that I'm in control of the about the way I feel, and
Right.
I can switch my focus and find simple things
Right.
like and I have that like from Abraham Hicks as well, easy existing matches
Yes.
about what you have in life right now.
Yeah.
You can be grateful for.
I love that. Yeah, I
Mhm.
think keeping it small and just even if you just wake up and you cannot find anything that you're grateful for when you start this habit, just start, thank you for my breath. Thank you that I'm breathing. Thank you for this day and for my body that it works. I'm able to, walk, talk, see, hear, um so on and so forth, and those little things add up,
Mhm.
just like interest adds up.
Yeah, yeah.
So it'll add up, and next thing you know, it'll grow into the habit that you want to do, which is be able to listen to your body. And like she says, like Nourhen says, when something feels off, take a moment and see what is really going on, right?
Yeah.
Take a little breather.
Yeah.
So I love that.
I love that too. It's amazing. It's been a game changer for
Oh yeah,
me.
absolutely.
Really,
Like a
it's
passion of
yeah.
mine.
It's
That's
been
why I wrote the book.
yeah, it's been a game changer. It's like I it's I'm guided.
Yes.
I'm guided, through um this higher power, the um through the life force,
Yeah.
and my body is part of it. I'm guided, and it's something also. like related to what we were saying.
Mhm.
It's again, I always go back, it's a decision.
Yeah.
I decided I don't want to be busy anymore. Busy, busy, busy,
Yeah.
busy, busy. It's I was going counterproductive. And then
Mhm.
so it was like so now, and indeed
Mhm.
it's like no, it's like
Take a moment.
take a moment. My inner work, my well-being, my self-care is the most important thing in my life.
Yeah.
From there, I am performing much higher than when I was putting myself on a constant stress level.
Yes. And like at first, when I started implementing this habit, I put a reminder on my phone
Mm.
every single day around 1 p.m. And I would put a reminder that would say, "How are you feeling?"
Mm.
And I forced myself to answer that question. Even if I felt like confused, like, how am I supposed to answer this question? Like, I don't know how I'm feeling, because I'm so on the go. I'm not in touch with myself. I'm not in touch with my feelings. And so answering that question just really brought me back to say, okay, you know what? Like, I'm really tense right now. And then I
Mm-hmm.
would just let go. Or like, I'm really stressed, or like, I'm really worried or something. And I would notice that it would be all negative at first. And then after a while, like, I kept track of my emotions. And after a while, then it was like, oh, you know what? I feel alive. I feel thankful. I feel, you know,
Yes.
a much more positive feeling. It didn't mean that I didn't have bad days. I still acknowledged them, but they didn't rule over me.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you just let that emotion pass through your body, and you just let it. Thank you for being able to feel you, because if we were dead, we couldn't feel emotions, right? So that's one thing you could be grateful for tomorrow when you wake up in the morning. Just wake up and say, you know what? Thank you, because I can feel emotions. I can feel that gave me goosebumps.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I was like,
And
yes.
so that's something that you guys can take with you, and just something practical. Start tracking your emotions, start asking yourself, how are you feeling? And just start really looking inwards and ground yourself, and don't let the lion eat you. He won't eat you.
Yes. You are the creator of your life.
Yes. All right. Well,
Nice.
until next video, guys, let us know in the comments, how did you practice this little tip that we gave you, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.